Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lockbeard Random Live number 30. Crazy Karens. See who's here. What is today? Today's Sunday. Looks like we're doing a 6:45 on Sunday, October 17th, 2021. Mr. Lee, welcome. Sandra, Brandy. We'll see you in a bit then. See who else is here. I think it's all Judy already here. Judy Wheeler's here. Welcome. Whoa. I think chat is jumping. Cheese Freaks here. Welcome. We're in the yeah, this is like the one, like it's a bigger size than the other ones. So it kind of hangs off of me. Karen, who has got to be, it's got to be Polly. Let's see here. All right, we'll see you in a bit, Brandy. I don't know if y'all have we're paying attention to the thumbnail. Hopefully everybody knows what a Karen is, right? You know what a Karen is. So that picture on the thumbnail is a Halloween mask that this guy named Jason Adcock has made, and he's calling them the real monsters of 2020. It says here. He's in the U.S. The masks are going for $180. Oh boy. I'm thinking it might be a bestseller. We got too much Karen action in this world right now. People so willing to call and report you for something. They can't stand it that you might be getting away with something or doing something they can't do or whatever. You know, it's just freaking Karens, man. Freaking Karens. Correct, beardless, beard of knowledge. Yeah. I'm beardless, all right. What is a Karen? Lost beard, yeah. It's lost right now. Man, I got some stubble in from growing it over the weekend, but I got to shave it in the morning, so. Yeah. Be Mr. Lee, it's free. What? I don't know if Mr. Lee's talking about a Karen. Like, what's a Karen? You know, those people that will call the police on people at a drop in of a hat, and you know, the ones who will report you for not wearing a mask. They'll report you if you got too many people going in your house when you were told not to have large gatherings. You know, that kind of stuff. They're all up in your business. You know. I can read you some official well, as official as definitions get. So over here on dictionary.com, it says Karen is a pejorative slang term for an obnoxious, angry, entitled, and often racist middle-aged white woman who uses her privilege to get her way or police other people's behaviors. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a racist middle-aged white woman. It can be anybody. Like that guy that lives about 700 feet over that way on the other side of this, all this shrubs and bushes here. I can't even see him from here, his apartment from where I'm parked now. That's a male Karen. I'll tell y'all what happened here in a little bit. What exactly is a Karen? Yeah, usually it seems like they usually refer to him as a middle class white woman exhibiting behaviors that stem from privilege. It's not I don't think it's about privilege. It's just about being up in people's business. Slangit.com says a Karen is a woman who acts entitled, expects certain privileges or special treatment, and gets angered easily. Boy, they refer to all of these as white. Everything's gotta be race. To me, the way I use it doesn't necessarily mean white, doesn't necessarily mean woman. I'm just talking about a behavior that I don't like. And I don't know why people gotta make it about race, but they do. Because racists make shit about race when it doesn't have to be. Just telling you fuckers out there, you're the real racist. You're calling us racist. You're the real goddamn racist. And if you don't know it, you're a dumbass. I'm sorry. Whoever the fuck you are. Instead of me, what's a Karen? Yeah. Well, hopefully yeah, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah. A busybody. Not quite Kara, definitely not a Katrina. Well, Katrina was just a bitch. Got me. Yeah. Actually, Ken was using that word. I know a lot of you may not have gone over to Ken's channel. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but he used that word to talk about because he's he communicates with a bunch of people from Australia, and he said a lot of the people he knows from Australia have been telling him that Australia is just loaded with Karens. Loaded with Karens. Icon's here. He knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. Nosy twit. Yeah. Hello, Akios. Hello, fellow chatters, says Icon. For those who don't know, Akios is another name I use. I've used that name online since the beginning of the Eternus Empire because that's part of my name in the micronational realm. Is that a type A personality? I don't know if it's type A. It's type asshole. Used to be everyone was an asshole, acted like a Karen. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Catch up in is Hiveless in here? Hey, we missed you in Hives Live. Icon says the Cheese Freak says Australia is an authoritarian. Yeah, it's becoming an authoritarian state. Hopefully, like there's still a lot of Australians that are not quite seeing it yet. They're not getting it quite yet, but they're starting. There's plenty of Australians that are pissed off already. You know, when they're trying to fine you $1,000, so you're outside your house when you shouldn't be. Screw you! I'll go outside my house when I want to. I don't know how people don't see what the fuck's going on. Don't they see this is the same as the rise of Nazism? It happened all the same way before. You build up a hatred of a certain group of people. You dehumanize them, like President Biden said in his speech. And you should all go watch that and think about this. What the fuck he just said? He said, this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. A pandemic of a certain group of people. We are now a disease to him. The disease isn't COVID anymore. It's now the people. This despicable piece of shit that calls himself a president has termed us the disease ourselves. And when you label a people a disease, the next step is just more authoritarian bullshit. You got Nazism, you got camps. I mean, they're building fucking camps down there in Australia. People are like, they call them something else, detention centers or whatever the hell they're calling them. They're not calling them that. They're calling them something else. But it's the same shit. It's exactly the same. Nobody learned a goddamn thing. Just like those Germans over there wearing those badges right now. People were wearing badges back in the 40s too, you dumb fucks. Wake the hell up before this shit goes too far. Yeah. Helito. Indeed, it was just still a bit daunting, but very fun. Don't take your mask off to even smoke a ciggy. Yeah. We got freaking some of these doctors and nurses here in the U.S. are saying that people who have not been jabbed do not have a right to any medical attention. You break your arm, get the fuck out of here. You obviously don't care about your health because you didn't get jabbed. That's the mentality we're dealing with the assholes, the collaborators. These are Nazi collaborators. They're the same goddamn shit. They're the same goddamn piece of shit as a Nazi collaborator. Meanwhile, other nurses and doctors are trying to blow the whistle on this, but the media, which is the Nazi propaganda wing, will not report on that shit. They'll sweep it under the rug as much as they can. They were reporting on a hospital right here. I got a family member who works in a goddamn hospital here, and when they reported, the ICU beds are like I can't remember the exact percentage, 91 or 90% full or some shit like that. Trying to scare people with this number, right? Here's the goddamn fact. The ICUs are always at that capacity level because the hospitals are a damn business. You don't have most of your beds empty you don't have extra beds all the time like that. You don't have you run a few extra, but that's what you run at. That's your normal capacity. The hospital ICU bed thing is a complete load of bullshit that the media was trying to scare you with. Everything's normal in the ICU bed usage. They're don't trust the media and don't trust the goddamn politicians. They're lying to you. They're twisting the truth. Yes, power and control. She says us anti-vaxxers are dangerous people who are dangerous to people who are vax, even though we have a natural immunity. Yeah. Well, did you see that video? Did you see that video? That Pfizer guy that got caught on video, and then I forget I'm losing the word for the guy who goes out and bust people like that. He busted this guy. It's like caught you saying that people. This guy from Pfizer said this. I'm not saying it. YouTube, shut the fuck up. I'm not giving medical advice or any of that shit. He said, what we all know for half decently smart people is that if you actually got the thing, you got a better immunity against it now than the people who got the jab. That's what the Pfizer guy said. Got caught on a hit, he was secretly filmed. And more damningly, he said on that film that he signed an NDA in regards to that information. So Pfizer knows damn good and well this is the truth, and they want it hidden. That's evil, people. That is evil. Pfizer needs to be beaten up and destroyed over this bullshit. They are trying to scam you into getting their jabs with a lie about those jabs, that you actually need them. I haven't even addressed the part where the thing isn't freaking real, and I've listed the list of reasons why it indicate fraud. Whether people take the time to look into this stuff themselves and figure it out. That's up to you. Like I said, you can't tell me you didn't see Biden getting in office after what happened to the other somewhat free countries, especially our neighbor to the north. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, fraud in regards to our choice has been happening for a long time, and they just took it to a whole new level this time, I guess. And we're very obvious with it. When you got, all kinds of snaky shit going on, the media couldn't keep a lot of it quiet. When you got them kicking out poll watchers, when you got a guy taping paper over a window, what the fuck are you hiding? People are just voting here. It isn't like it's a top secret meeting. Why are you putting paper over a window? It's because you're fucking hiding something, you despicable piece of shit. That guy should be in jail. Yeah. And, people are like, what are you so pissed about? The liberty is dying, you fucks. Our right to vote has been destroyed. Our right to for our kids not to go to school and be subjected to injurious things like mask. Kids need to goddamn breathe, you fucks. They need to breathe. You don't put that shit on a kid's face. You don't put it on anyone's face. Go look at the people showing they put a CO2 monitor behind those masks and it sets it off. It sets the fucking CO2 monitor off because the CO2 levels get too high behind the mask. Then you have the other assholes who are your Nazi collaborator, propaganda wing assholes putting videos out where they're measuring your blood concentrations instead and saying, see, look, it doesn't do nothing. No, that's not what OSHA's rules are. They don't talk about your blood concentration. They talk about what in the fuck you are breathing. You're not supposed to breathe above a certain percentage, a certain concentration CO2. The masks are a violation of those rules. That's the OSHA rules. Why are we doing it to kids? Why are we doing it to anybody? Plus, you got hypoxia issues, and it increases bacterial problems too. Some of the people who have died in this last year and a half, how much you want to bet they died because they were wearing a mask, because of bacterial infections? These fuckers are the ones killing people, not whatever imaginary germ they've convinced half of America exists. I challenge you fucks. Go ahead. Show me that for a fact. Show me some kind of evidence that I have had this thing, that I've been exposed to this thing, that this thing even exists. Explain to me why overall all-cause mortality hasn't gone up. Explain to me what happened to the flu death statistics. Every year flu kills people. What the fuck happened to that? Did flu just take a goddamn vacation? No, you guys just labeled it something else to scare people, to terrorize people. This makes you terrorists. Do you understand? Government, media, and any of you fucking caring pieces of shit that participated in this. I don't think I'm being too rough. The founding fathers would have done, well, you know what the founding fathers would have done by now. We are being very patient with you despicable pieces of shit. I don't know, Judy. It's as if they are purposely trying to push us to war. They want to thin us out. What better way? Piss people off to the point that they can't take anymore. Take away their jobs. Destroy their businesses. Take away their liberty. Make them walk around wearing a mask, a muzzle. Take away the right to breathe. All I can think of is perhaps we should organize that there's going to be a day where we all drop everything and we march to the government buildings and we stand there in a solid wall. No one comes in, no one comes out until we've completely removed and had the resignation of every single elected official. We need a complete replacement of government. That shit at the Capitol was staged. I hope everyone knows that. It was staged. Do you think that goofy fuck with the horns on his head was legitimately one of Trump's people? Not that I'm not a Trump supporter either. I don't trust that fucker either. But there was a other fucker who was proven to be a plant too. There were plants there. The Capitol Police opened the barricades for the people to come in. The fucking thing was staged, instigated, orchestrated, or whatever the appropriate word to use for it is. It's just, Cheese Freak says, I'm a nurse who has had the vid 2 times and worry about losing my job 10, 18 because of the mandate. This shit is crazy. Yeah, but see, you're still saying you had it. How do you know you had anything new? You know? How do you know that? They sent you tests. Did you design a test or the doctors designed the test? Tell me, did you notice that the administrators were pushing doctors to write COVID on anything and everything they could because the government was paying them thousands of dollars per COVID patient? Did you go to the CDC website and you see where the CDC website told they recommended that doctors don't even test a patient who has died with some kind of symptoms that could be said to be COVID? They said don't even test them, just write COVID on a death certificate. And then those numbers went into the statistics that they were scaring people with on the news. Everything you look at, if you look at it close enough, points to complete fraud. The CDC never isolated the virus. How the hell can you tell us this damn thing exists if you haven't isolated it? At least they admitted that. They never isolated the virus. Elon Musk tried to warn us. He tried to warn us that the test doesn't tell you shit anyway. Even if they did give those people a test, it wouldn't tell you shit anyway. It tests for indicators. It does not test for the virus that has not been isolated and thus has not been proven to exist. Elon Musk took the test 4 times. The same nurse got 2 positives and 2 negatives, which means it's worthless. That's some pretty bad results there. It means everyone that took it, it was wrong half the time, or it's useless altogether. Because either he had it and the test was wrong 50% of the time, or he didn't have it and the test was wrong 50% of the time, or the thing doesn't exist in the first place and the test is not telling us anything of any use. It's completely useless. Number 3 is where I'm at right now. Because all these other things that indicate that the entire thing's a goddamn fraud. They showed us video of people dead in the street overseas. Did we see anyone dead in the goddamn streets? No. Origins supposedly in China, right? Well, none of us can march up to this place and find out what the hell's going on. It's conveniently overseas in a country that we will not be allowed to go to, or we can't afford to even go to. You know, there's nothing we could do. It ain't like it came out of freaking Texas or something. Well, we can all drive down to Texas and find out what the fuck's going on. We can't go to China. How convenient. There's a full moon coming. There will be a rush on rush on Wu flu victims in ER on the same date. Maybe. I better try and catch up on the fucking shit. We live in a fallen world. Yeah, we got hard times ahead, man. Gasoline prices are probably about to go up higher. They're going to come up with some kind of new variant or whatever reason to try and screw things down tighter. They're going to say, "Oh, the winter's here," because more people are going to start getting the flu, right? And they're going to label that as the other thing. Community was better than his, and he had the hell, yeah. I'm not taking an injection of that crap. Dig into what's in it. Some people, there's some pretty crazy claims out there. It's hard to say what all's right, but look at what other countries are doing in regard to it. Some are not playing ball. You do not want them to inject you with this stuff unless you know what's in it. Ask them to give, go to get the shot, right? And when the nurse comes in or the doctor comes in with the injection, ask to hold it, see if they'll let you touch it, and say, you know what, I'll give it to myself and walk out with it. See what they do. They'll probably have you tackled with security. I don't know, but I don't know what they'll do. But give it a try. See what happens. Try to get away with a sample of this stuff. Don't let them know that that's what you're going to do until they walk into the room with it. They're about to put it in your arm. Grab it and run, so that somebody can look at it and analyze it and see what's actually in it. Hopefully, you can get it to someone who can do that. If this stuff has graphene oxide, it explains a lot of people getting the jab having issues in regards to blood clotting. Yes, graphene oxide. Look into it. Look at the studies in regard to graphene oxide. Wish I had a better explanation, but you can't explain smarts to people that don't have any. Yeah. In my opinion, I'm a high all. In my opinion, got the poke cool, didn't get it cool. Want to wear a mask? Okay, don't, fine. Bigfoot and Nons here. What's up? I knew I absolutely loved you. Thank you, man. Swamp. Get him, Lockbeard. Man, they got me fired up tonight, man. Uncle Bones is in the house. Nikki coming on now. Is she coming on? Oh, that's right. She's coming on tonight. Yeah, we might have to call her short. I forgot. I was rushing to get up here. I had stuff to do, and I started up as soon as I got to where I could park. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm pissed off, Brandy. This whole fucking thing is bullshit. My mom got that fucking job because of a big prick mandate. Yeah. Yeah, I know. This BS, but how can we stop this shit? Revolution absolutely staged, and he was Jeopardio. Yeah. Well, the thing is, the founding fathers, yes, the founding fathers would have had a revolution by now, long before now. They would have had a revolution years ago. We've had our liberty eroded for a long time. This is just the latest big push, and maybe the biggest push we've seen in our lives. Founding fathers would have had a revolution. I'm not saying, look, if I say that, here come the sirens, right? I'm just saying we can all stop working on one day. We choose a day and we all go down and surround every single public building in this country. Every city hall, all the way up to the White House. And we stand there unarmed and we dare them to harm us and tell us that we, the people, can't replace our government with something far better that respects our liberty. To see if the United States is ready to just start gunning down innocent, unarmed citizens. Cheese Freak says, I don't know that it was new. However, I had interstitial pneumonia. My BNL died of a brain bleed because he had clots in his lungs and legs from the virus, and the thinners caused the brain bleed. Well, I mean, here's the thing is, you know, that could have been a condition that was going to happen anyway. I don't know without knowing their case. I mean, did they give this person any kind of injections? You know, there's a lot of stuff to analyze in regard. You talking about clots? You know, it's starting to stink of the jab again, and graphene oxide, and whatever other bullshit's in it. I've heard some crazy shit about what some people have found in it. I just need confirmation. I'd like to get my hands on a sample of this shit and try to find out what the fuck's in it. Because if some of the shit I've heard, I'm not even going to repeat it because it's so fucking crazy. Because I don't want to sound crazy for repeating it. I know it's within the realm of possibility, though. Sepsis injury, however, people are dying regardless, either from the virus or comorbidities. People died from comorbidities. There was comorbidities with the flu as well before. That's what I'm saying. If all-cause mortality did not rise, then it's very unlikely that anything new is out there, right? If there was something new killing people, then all-cause mortality would see a rise. The total number of people that died last year would have risen some. The flu statistics show a drastic drop, as if flu just stopped killing people last year. No, they just relabeled it. The symptoms are basically the same as what you see with flu. You know, it's basically the same. These people just had the flu. That's it. Dark winter coming. Yeah, he's like warning us. He's about to fuck us some more. Randy says they didn't bring the vial into the room when my mom got hers. Just a syringe already full. Yeah, grab the syringe. I would. I have half a mind to try that shit myself. I just don't trust hospitals. If I get in the hospital, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to find some way to, they'll try and throw me in jail or some shit, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm in town. I'm at a place that, all right, this is what happened. I don't want to necessarily give away exactly where I'm at, but anyway, at this location, it's a public place. It has a sign that says 24/7 Wi-Fi available, you know, in the parking lot. So this is where I've been hanging. And there's another van lifer here across the way. It's been here a lot as well since I've been up here. There's a strip of property over here that looks like maybe it's owned by the city. Probably meant to be a road one of these days coming through right here. And then on the other side of that is an apartment complex. And I've been parking over there kind of aimed at it. Under a tree. It's pretty nice. You know, it's a nice little area there, but there's an apartment building there. Maybe 400 feet from the front of my van. And then on the other side of that, there's some cars and a driveway coming through. And then there's another apartment building on the other side of the parking there, maybe 700 feet from the van. Now the one that's 700 feet, like I can't even see it right now because where I'm parked at now, the trees are in a way. But usually I can see it kind of through there. So within a week of me first coming down here, the police were called. And they showed up. And they just said somebody called, and they just got to check if they called. They said, you're fine. You know, there wasn't no big deal. It's just they got called. Within a week, someone called the police on me for being here. I have every right to be here. It's a place that our tax dollars pay for. And it's got a sign saying 24/7 Wi-Fi, blah, 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 blah. Everything's fine. And so the cops just, said, okay, we'll see you later. Bye. Nothing. So last week, I had a hard time getting to sleep, but I eventually got to sleep, and I'd only been sleeping for about 90 minutes before there was a knock on my window, and it was this guy in the other van here. Well, apparently, this male fucking Karen over here. At that point, I didn't know even where he lived or anything. I just was going off what this guy's telling me. He told me the guy drove up in this parking lot, like he drove behind my van, looking at me, and then drove over there where he was at, and he had his door open, I guess, and there was and they had words, and so the guy that stays in this van over here. He said that the Karen was saying that we were stalking him and all kinds of shit. And he said he could have swore he heard the click of a gun or something in that guy's car. But not sure. But the guy was over here, 2 properties over, like scoping us out. So the guy that's in this van over here was telling me at my window here what was going on and how he was concerned. And he just thought that I should know what had happened. And so while we were talking, that motherfucker comes walking over. Now it's a little dark area over here. So he stayed kind of outside the floodlight, the range of the floodlight. So I couldn't get a good look at him. He looked like he's a guy, heavy set, dark hair. And he starts hollering at the guy, I can't remember everything he said, but he kept asking, who's in the van? Who's in the van? Blah, blah, blah. Like it's his business. So I already saw this wasn't going to end. So I was going to end it. So I open my door, jump out of the van, say, Earl's in the van. For those of you who don't know, that's my real first name. He starts saying we're like encroaching on his property, that we're squatters, that we're stalking him. And I'm like, dude, you're the one coming over here cruising the parking lot and trying to find out who's in the van. And I mean, you're the one engaged in stalking behavior. Projecting much? And he just kept going on and on. Finally, I said, do we need the cops to come? And I thought maybe that would shut him up because he might start thinking, realize that he's the one in the wrong. He's the one that came over here twice. Came in the parking lot scoping us out. He's trying to claim we're stalking him. I don't even know this guy. I didn't even know where he lived until he walked back to his apartment over there. Then I saw where he went. Now I know where he lives. Good job, buddy. But he's probably been over there, like his window, I guess that's his living room window. He can sit there on his couch and look out the blinds all day long at me. I wasn't aware this person existed. I wasn't, whatever. There's apartment buildings over there. So the fuck what? You got neighbors all around. Do you harass your neighbors too, motherfucker? I don't know what his problem is. But anyway, so we had a little exchange about the cops, and he's like, I'm going to call the cops. I'm like, okay. So I sat outside my van and waited for the cops to come, and they did. A couple of units came in, and I said hello and talked to them and told them what happened, and they said, well, you guys are fine here. You're not doing anything wrong, but they implied that this person may be uh, have mental problems. They didn't say it conclusively, but it was kind of implied. So I think they know damn good and well who this guy is, and I don't know. We haven't heard anything about it since. So I think maybe they got his ass lined out this time. At least I haven't. I haven't been up here for the weekend. I've been out at the farm, but I just got back, and but that night, I only had 90 minutes of sleep. I couldn't get wound back down, so I didn't get any more sleep that night. It was a long freaking day after that because of crazy ass fuck over there. Yeah, maybe crackhead. I don't know. Drugs are bad. Okay, yeah. Are you ruining his view of something? Well, the only thing that he might not be able to see the other guy's van through my van. Only thing, when I'm parked over there, the only thing behind me is the rest of this parking lot, and then there's a privacy fence on that side of the parking lot. There's nothing I'm blocking that is his view. I mean, shit, there's usually two rows of cars parked between his apartment and there's a little bit of brush kind of obscuring things, and looking over this way. I think he's just a crazy fucker. He's on drugs, or he's just that much of a goddamn Karen. Thank you, Brandy. You too. Icon says might have mental problems. Yeah, he's got mental. If he come, well, and I'm just worried because if he does have a gun, I can't fucking dodge bullets yet. Just remember your 3 S's, brother. My 3 S's. Move to another part of town, Lockbeard. This is the best place I've found so far. The damn, well, even if I did get in at one of the RV places, because they're jacked full. Ever since this bullshit started, a bunch of people bought RVs. Like, RVs sold like hotcakes. There's a lot more people running RVs now, and the parks are full. But even if I get in there, how good's their Wi-Fi going to be, right? And it's a little further for me to drive. One of the places just, is, you can tell they wouldn't want to, they don't want anyone with RVs older than like 2010 in there. Well, they're being snobbish about their place. So spit, slap, and spank. What? What's the 3 S's? Shoot, shovel, and shh. Well, it'd be hard to there's like at least a half dozen apartments that would see what happened from their windows. And the rest of them would just have to walk around from wherever they're at to see where the gunshots were. No. The cops said just do not engage. Call us. So that's what I'll do next time. Probably should have done that last time, but it's not my initial response to bullshit like that. My initial response is to, tear into a motherfucker. I don't think I can disregard those. I'm not sure what the spit part's about, but I mean, so yeah, how long have we been on here? 45 minutes. Of course, the thing doesn't tell me how long, does it? Yeah, we've been on here for about 46 minutes. Anybody else had some Karen encounters? Icon says if it ain't spit, it ain't love. It begins with S. That is all. No, I ain't seen no porcupines. We don't have any porcupines down here that I'm aware of. It'd be cool if we did, but they just don't come this far south, I don't guess. There anything new I've missed? I haven't really. Man, I fell asleep during Central Florida Bigfoot's live stream last night. I was struggling to stay awake, but I was done for. And but today I went back and watched that the Hiveless live stream that Brandy jumped on. Interesting. Yep, Brandy's cheating on me over there with Hiveless. Saw Mr. Lee hanging out over there too. Mr. Lee, I don't know how you had time to be in all these live streams. I mean, do you ever sleep, man? What are you ewing about? The cheating with Hiveless thing? You don't sleep? I wish I could achieve that, Mr. Lee. 5 hours, I'm good. 3 hours, I've been good. Many times I've done that before. I'd like to get where I'm regularly a 3 hour person, but that's hard. But 90 minutes, see, 90 minutes is a good time because you sleep in 90-minute cycles. So if you got through an entire cycle and then wake up, you're going to be a lot better off than if you didn't get through the entire cycle, or if you wake up in the middle of a cycle. Icon says, yeah, you should do the StreamYard thing so we can talk to you. Well, I mean, I am on StreamYard, but like out there at the farm, like I've tried jumping on other people's streams, and it just, the Wi-Fi is not strong enough or something. It doesn't work. I tried getting on Mogs and I tried getting on Squatch Talk, and it just didn't work. And so I haven't tried like someone jumping on with me. I don't know if it worked better or not. Like last night I was trying to show videos and people were saying they can't see, what's going on in the video. So the video quality wasn't good enough for people to see until they actually went and found that video themselves and watched it, on their own internet rather than coming through mine, I guess. So it's just too weak. And like here, like I'm not sure. This might be like, because I'm not parked where I normally like to park. I'm parked like under, I think that I'm parked right under the Wi-Fi emitter or whatever you call these things. So, so I don't know if it'd be strong enough. I guess we'll find out one of these days. I'll just try it one of these days, but and see what happens. But I don't know if I'm going to try it tonight, though, because um, we probably should all jump over and see what's going on Nikki's show. She's 35 minutes in, it looks like. And I don't necessarily want to be on here a long time tonight anyway. Need to wind down and start thinking about sleep. And I got a ton of shit. You wouldn't believe how much shit I got to read. Well, why not? You offend him all you want. Like I says, oh, I got. Hopefully, you get better reception soon. Well, that's what I'm hoping is at some point. Is get is rent a place. Well, I don't want to rent a place though. I really don't want to rent. The whole idea is distasteful to me. Is to buy a place. I contacted the guy that owns a bunch of parcels to the east of here. Some pretty rocky terrain. Be good to raise goats. Well, I didn't contact him. I contacted his son. He's very old. Turned out the property is for sale. It's just not listed. But I haven't got a response back on some of my questions. I think he may not have liked my timeline. My timeline might not be what he wanted. So I'm going to try and contact him again and figure something out. The only problem is, for whatever reason, this nearest town, which is it's across the damn river, and they've expanded their city limits to this side of the river, encompassing another smaller town. It used to be its own place, but now it's in part of that town, and their city limit spreads all the way over that way onto all that property. I don't know why that area is city limits. There's no structures on those properties. It's all wild. There's some wastewater pump stations. It looks like there's 2 of them on the edge of the properties for some reason. I don't like that, but they're there. Looks like there might be some locations from there I can actually see the river. Maybe. It's zoned agricultural, even though there's no agriculture there. It's rocky terrain. It's not really suitable for what most people want. It's perfect for me though. But hopefully I can get there, build a place, just something small, and have fiber optic, hard line this shit. This Wi-Fi shit, Wi-Fi is never the best way to do this shit. Different parcels are different, a number of acres. I don't know what the biggest one is. Maybe 100 and something acres is the biggest parcel. Smallest one I think is like 8 acres. But there's a bunch of different. He owns a bunch of different parcels in the area. I'd like to try and get them all, but the question is that in the budget? I don't know if I want some goat men running around out here. I plan on eating these bitches. See, yeah. This kind of terrain is perfect for goats. Goats love rocky terrain. It's not good for cows. And goats are easy. Like I can go out and club a goat upside the head and throw it over my shoulders. Maybe most people can't do that, but or if it's a big one, at least drag it. But you're usually taking them out. Young used to be males, if you get my drift. Thought that was a shooter. Was it? Oops. One of them. I don't know exactly. All land is going up, though. So, the only thing I know about that is what the county assessor's office says. For those parcels, maybe I can. If I got it pulled up already, I did. It was here. I can tell you what but see that's not what the price is going to be. It's going to be quite a bit more probably, especially if this guy owns a land company, so he's wanting to make some money. He knows he can sell it for more. I'll try and pick a smaller piece, perhaps. Am I in the right spot? This does not look right. Why doesn't this look right? I'm in the wrong place, that's why. I'll get it there in a second. Okay, like the piece that I'm most interested in, I think, is one of the smaller ones. And I can tell you what it says on the county assessor's website. It says according to the county assessor, this piece of property is worth $941. And it's just shy of 20 acres. It's very close to the Arkansas River, like within sight of the Arkansas River. And then all the other parcels are either east or south of it. Like here's a bigger one here. It's according to the county assessor. Now this is low. Fair cash value $6,842. Not even $7,000, and it's 162 acres. So I don't know if that gives you an idea of what we're looking at, but yeah. So yeah, I think there was more than one. Hive would be another one. What? Buy that shit. Well, he's going to want more money than that. That's just like a lot of times the county assessor, they have the property assessed, low, so the taxes are low, right? It's kind of like it's like year after year they never raise the value, the fair market value on the county assessor's paperwork, until something happens to change and they come out and reassess it. And so really that's probably not the real fair market value. And the owner is going to try and sell it for way more than that. Like I was checking out a place and it had it has like a small house and a shop on it. And I think it's according to the county assessor's website, it was like $30-something thousand. but the owner is selling it for I want to say $250,000. You are? Cool, man. Get some property if you can. Grab something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's gotta be expensive over there. Like, there's just so many more. The population density is so high in Europe in general. So I don't know if most Europeans would know what to do with as much open space as Americans have. And I'm not happy with the amount of open space we have. We don't have enough. There's too many people. There's too much development. So I don't know. Icon says, yeah, there's an undeveloped 5-acre parcel across the road from me for, whoa, $179,000 for 5 acres. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just going to get prohibitively expensive for a regular person to acquire land at all. And then you're screwed. You're at the mercy of the land barons. This is all this shit's happened before. Very small number of people control all the land. And it's already there technically, because the government in effect owns all land, period. I mean, a lot of Americans don't really realize that. Even if I go down there and buy that land, if I don't pay them the taxes that they want, they will come down there and take that land. They will show me who actually owns that land. I never actually get to own that land. No one gets to own shit in this country. That's one of those erosions of liberty we're talking about. They have taken away our right to own land. They still, just because we still say I own it doesn't mean we actually own it. But that's the trick with the words they got on us right now. But at least if you buy it, you have some degree more control over your situation than you did before. But the government is the true owner. If we don't say they own that land, we say they own you, right? And they do. Because if you want to be able to buy shit here, you have to use U.S. dollars almost entirely, unless you barter, and then they'll be eyeballing you if you do too much of that, right? So you got to work, and if you work, you got to pay taxes for working. The master keeps his cut of your output. You are therefore a slave. A 1-bed flat in London on average is 400. Is that 400,000 euros or pounds? Pounds, Mr. Lee? Pounds. Time to find a bigger island to live on. Yeah. Come to the States, Mr. Lee. Yeah. Ag land around here is 6,000 to 9,000 per acre. Good luck finding some. Yeah. Hopefully I can get something. There's no way I can buy all those parcels. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of acres of land. My only hope is this guy he's old as hell and he just wants to offload it because he's been trying for years to sell it to developers, and developers can't really use it because it's really rugged land. Like you can't just plow down all the brush and it's not flat. You can't just build a housing addition up in this shit. It's on the other side of the river from Tulsa, so it's not really like there is some industrial area near, like not too far away, but that's not going to expand into this area that I'm talking about. It's just not, and there's still lots of room between the two areas. So it's not going to become industrial, I don't think. No one's going to use it. No one's going to want it for cattle. They're not going to raise cattle on there. So my hope is this guy just figures, like, hopefully in his mind, I'm the buyer he's been waiting for. And, this is as good as it's going to get, whatever I end up offering him. I'm pretty sure if I go sit down and talk to my bank that we'll be able to work things out all right. We got a pretty good history, and so can't own shit. Nope. You love England, huh? Yeah. You can't leave the land you love. Icon says, yes, Mr. Come to the States. I know of this great piece of land for sale right across the road. Then y'all's be neighbors. Yeah, Icon's zeroed in on me a little bit. Pretty close. Pretty close, Icon. How'd you figure that out? Is that where you're at? Okay. If you're in Sand Springs proper, then you are just across the river from where I'm at right now. Yeah, Mr. Lee's asking the same thing. Icon, where are you? He's somewhere in Oklahoma. It sounds like. I think. I don't know. Are you, Icon? Icon says, Wisconsin, US vague, just like England, but we speak English. So you're in Wisconsin. I'm trying to figure out why you said Sand Springs. Where's Waldo? Yeah, it's Carmen Sandiego. Did I say it? Did I say before I was in Sand Springs? I don't remember saying that. Ugh. Where's Brian Loudry? I'm not familiar with that one. You had a cousin that lived west of Sand Springs for a while. You know the area a little? Like Sand Springs proper, or they weren't? They were north of the river, right? Your cousin was north of the river. That's what Sand Springs really. It's real. That's real Sand Springs. On this side of the river, it's Prattville, or it was, but it's been annexed by Sand Springs. Sand Springs needs to move back the other side of the river and keep their city limits on that side of the river. So if I do buy that property, I'm going to try to get it de-annexed. And of course, cities don't like that, right? Because that's tax revenue for them, right? So I figure what I'll tell them is, and it's true, if it's in the city limits, the only thing I'm ever going to do with it is raise goats on it. If it's outside the city limits, on the peripheral, I'll probably build a few rental houses. So that'll bring more people to the area. You know, it's going to be more people buying stuff in the Prattville area and Sand Springs. They'll be going to Walmart in Sand Springs, and and it will still be in Tulsa County. If I'm forced to take that particular business venture somewhere else, well, we're close to the edge of Tulsa County already. I'm going to be going over in the next county, you know, Sapulpa or somewhere, one of those areas. So it's to their benefit, in my case, to de-annex this property here. Yep, north of the river. Also been to Norman to visit the NWS/NSSL, whatever that is. I have some family that lives in that area too. Mr. Lee says, are goats easy to raise? It depends on who you ask. It depends on what breed you're raising. If you put the right damn fence around the property, and you raise Kiko breed goats, you'll have an easy time. But if you raise any other breed, if you raise Boers, you're going to be dealing with worms and hoof problems probably, and just all kinds of bullshit. Don't raise Boer goats. If people say if you're raising meat goats, you should raise Boer. Don't listen to those people. Don't listen to them. If you're raising meat goats, you should be raising pure Kiko goats. If you're willing to spend the money, get some, New Zealand, 100% New Zealand. The Kikos were developed in New Zealand. They were just made to be tough and self-sustainable. Yeah, they can cause lots of damage if you got shit to damage, but if you just got, you don't want to park your car in with your goats. Let's just put it that way. But they're perfect to raise alongside cattle, though, because a lot of cattle operations struggle and they're spraying and all this shit, trying to control brush and stuff like that the cows don't really like to eat. They're not really made to eat brush, but goats are made to eat brush. So you need to run goats with your cows, and then everything is a nice little balance, and it all works out. And goats good eating. Yeah, they eat a lot of stuff, but in a pasture, you want them to eat everything is out there. It's just, you know, they get a little worse reputation than they deserve in that regard, I think, though. But just make sure if you're going to raise goats, you put up the right fence. You know, if you put up, you can't raise them in barbed wire; they'll walk right through it. Like they don't. You know, these are animals that are made to wade through brambles and eat the brambles. Barbed wire is not a problem for them, at least not spaced that way. And then a lot of this field fence and stuff where the opening is like this big, it's too big, and they'll stick their head through there, and then their horns will get locked in there. So now you're having to pull their heads out of fences all the time. So you need to get it where it's the smaller openings. Like I think, 4-inch square is probably small enough for the most part. They can't get their head through that. So you build the right fence, you're good. And if there's nothing in there, you're worried about them tearing up because they jump on shit and they like the, but if you got the right fence, you're good. It costs you a little bit more money, but you're good. Storm predictions. Oh, yeah. Meredith's here. Welcome. Mr. Lee, ask Donnie from Standing Goats. I do know they have a lot of them. And big vet bills, yeah. What breeds are they raising, though? If there's a couple of things I'd say. If you're going to start a goat operation, 1, put the right fence up. 2, unless you're going to raise dairy goats, which I don't know why the fuck you want to do all that shit, but whatever. If you're raising meat goats, no to Boer goats. No. Them goats are fucked up. They might put out just a little bit more meat than a Kiko, but no Boer goats. Kiko goats. And then if one gets worms, let it fucking die. Okay? You don't need it breeding, or you just don't need it. Or if you are going to fix it up, take it away from the herd, get it cured and healthy again, and butcher that bitch. You want to, coal. Like always, don't pollute your Kiko herd by keeping any of them that get sick. There, you got a good breed of goat there. Don't breed bad blood, because it does still pop up. You just gotta weed it out. And do not feed them grain. Don't do it. Now you can use it to if you need to entice them to go into wherever you need them to go, or to lead them, but that's the only thing you should ever use it for. Don't feed them grain of any kind. I don't give a shit. Even no matter how they balance it, don't feed them anything. You put them in that field and they eat the goddamn brush. You might have to get through the winter with some hay. Don't overstock. That's what a lot of people, they'll put too many goats in an area, because if you got there's shit down around here, there's honeysuckle that stays green year round. They can keep eating on that. So if there's plenty of land, there's honeysuckle growing around. They got green shit to eat. There's boxwood, privet, that kind of shit that's green year round growing out there. There's other stuff that's growing that's green year round that they can work on in the wintertime, in addition to some hay that you've stocked up. But don't feed them grain. You get that urinary bullshit, and then who needs that? People are causing that, feeding their damn goats a bunch of grain. They're not meant to eat that. It's just like us in fruit. Fruit ripens once a year. You're not supposed to have it all the damn time. That's how you get problems. Bobby's here. Welcome. Meredith says, hello, everyone. Walker, how are you? Good. I hope, yeah. Good enough. Good enough. I got all my ranting out for the night, I think. Or most of it. Like I said, Mr. Lee, chew it up, rut it up, stomp on it, rub horns on stuff, etc. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, but if they're out in a pasture, you got a fence that can handle the goat, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. You know. Actually, you know that guy I was showing you guys last night that had the fire on his farm, Daniel Arms Family Homestead. He raises some goats, and he's into Kiko. That's how I found him. Is my interest in Kiko goats, and he has an interest in Kiko goats. He's had some boers, and he talks about some of the same shit about the problems with him. But it's funny, like he had one. I think it was a boer goat buck named Jerkface. And this son of a bitch, for whatever reason, he hated this particular corner of that barn, and he kept just running his head into that goddamn barn. And I'm like, what I would have done, just go get a couple of pieces of telephone pole, dig a couple holes right there where he keeps running in that barn. Just stick those telephone pole piece in there, just coming 4 feet out of the ground, and let him run his head into that. Now he might go and run into something else. I don't know, but that's what you get when you got animals with horns. So those horns are made for running into shit. Running into a predator or running into each other's heads. That's just what they do. So you just got to be ready. You can't just put a sheet metal building out with goats because they're gonna fuck it up. Actually, there was a place, I can't remember what, somewhere here in northeast Oklahoma where I went to. We were picking up a car, and this guy had a buffalo out there. And he would do that too. There was a metal shelter out there, and he would get up there and he would just tear the metal up with his horns. He wanted to tear that shit up. Don't put that kind of shit out there with goats or any of these kind of animals. You just don't do it. They don't need any shelter, really. These are animals that ran around in the wild without buildings and shit long before man got them. You're just making them soft anyway. Just put them out in the field. They'll be fine. I mean, if I was going to put in anything, it would be some kind of shelter for them during a tornado. And it's just so that they can hide from a tornado if they want to. But it's not really they don't need shelter ever. Really. I mean, some people will disagree with that, but these animals ran around in the wild for many thousands of years before we started ranching them. No comment. Milk goats and alpaca. Yeah, alpaca is an animal you don't screw with either, man. Yeah, Nigerian dwarf milk goats. Does she milk them? I mean, is she actually actively making dairy? Bobby. I'm starting to get behind in the chat up in this bitch. You'll behave. Mr. Lee says, make a dirty joke, please. Donnie has a rescue. Well, it's called Standing Goats Rescue or whatever. Sheep are cool. Yeah, I'd like to raise some sheep for meat as well. I don't know if I'd want to screw with, wool, but you can get the ones that aren't wool. They're just meat sheep, hair sheep, or whatever they call them. Icon says, Uncle Ken's on. I'm going to head over there for a bit. Yeah, I was planning on heading over there at some point. Have a good one, Icon. Yeah, I was watching something. There was some kind of like a documentary or something about. It was over there in the UK, I think it was. Where was that at? Isle of Man, I think it was, where they reintroduced like crows or something like that, and you're not allowed to like do anything about these crows, and the crows were attacking the sheep. Like they would peck the eyes and the tongue out of a baby sheep as it was being born, so it was already dead by the time it hit the ground. Like its head would be sticking out the back of its mom during birth, and these crows would poke its eyes out. It was ridiculous. At some point, you let a farmer shoot the damn crows, right? Brandy says, "Don't pollute your Kegel." What? Sure, I probably misspelled that, but you have to admit the statement is hilarious. I don't know what in the hell. Don't pollute your Kegel. Patrick's here. Welcome. We're probably wrapping her up though, but thanks for coming. Take good care of your Kegel, people. What in the hell are you talking about? Couldn't stomach the Rick Dyer interview. Yeah, I almost wrapped her up to go over there, but it just kind of didn't happen. I forgot she was on tonight. Is it pretty bad? I might watch it on. I don't know. I might watch it on high speed. Get through it quick. Later on, like tomorrow, like not tonight. I gotta go to sleep at some point here. I'll pack your ass. Yeah. I'll spit on you and shit. Kiko. Oh, you're talking about the goats. It's spelled like that there, only without the E. It's Kiko. Yeah, Daniel Arms. Yeah, I talked about him last night. I showed his video were you not here? The video where he spotted well, he didn't see it when he was filming. Someone else told him later, was that a Sasquatch running behind you in the smoke? And then he went back and looked, and there was some kind of humanoid form running through the smoke behind him. He referred in the title of the video, he called it giant. So I'm kind of relying on trusting him and his judgment of how big that thing was when he went back and looked at the video, and him being familiar with his land and with his area there that he was burning, that he could judge how big whatever it was that was running through the smoke behind him in the video, because he didn't see it as it was happening. He went back and saw it on the video after someone told him it was there. So by his judgment, it was something that was huge. And so I don't know if you watched a lot of Arms Family Homestead as well, maybe you can give your impression. Like Like someone was suggesting that he was like the sound of his voice, that he was just trolling us and stuff like that. And what I was trying to tell him, I was like, no, that's how he always talks. That's the way he always is. That's just the way he is. He's not. I don't think he's trolling this. I think he legitimately has something in that video that he can only explain as being a Sasquatch, because he said he wasn't a believer in Sasquatch, and but there in his video is some big thing running through the smoke behind him. Jerkface, yeah, that was the name of his goat. Yeah, Jerkface. They give their animals goofy fucking names. Bobby might remember, like, what did they name that steer? Like, they named him some kind of like what, you didn't name it like steak or ribeye or so. They named him something after food. Yeah, Kiko Goats, Jerkface Jr. Gabrito. It's like a it looks similar to Spanish word for goat meat. I don't know what breeds Donnie has. I forget. He runs rescue. Isle of Man, small island. Yeah. It was pretty brutal what was happening. It was, so these farmers were like, dude, we got to do something about these damn crows. Oh, is he really fucking Dyer? Screw that guy, man. Yeah. So yeah, I'll set to watch it on a replay, I guess, if I can. I've just been so short on time. So but yeah, that's the plan. I want to try and get that land and throw some Kiko goats on it, especially with all the rocks. If I should never have to trim a hoof because of the breed of goats and because of how rocky the land is. They'll be climbing all over those rocks and grinding their hooves down. And it's all brush. They got plenty to eat. Low stocking rate, so they even have enough to eat during wintertime. If they have to, they'll eat goddamn red cedar. There's red cedars out there. They'll eat that shit. You ever scared to let the dogs out at times? Yeah, crows, man. They can make a cool pet, though, but they can be a complete pain in the ass. They're a damn smart bird. Well, isn't that what at least Peter Kane's got one of them damn things? I don't know that I'd ever keep a crow for a pet, though. Anymore, I don't even want to keep anything in a cage. Like, I used to keep lots of snakes, but nowadays I just just let that thing go and do its thing. Ran across one last night over in one of the cow pastures. What I saw was something jump. And I went over and looked to see what I saw. This snake, it was a garter snake, had grabbed a leopard frog and he had a hold of it. And that frog had tried to jump and get away, but it couldn't. But I didn't hang around to watch him swallow it or anything, because he was going to be That was a pretty big frog for that snake, so it was going to be a while. I mean, first he's got to get it turned around head first. I don't know if anyone's watched snakes eat. Like a lot of times they'll get the thing, they'll grab it from behind, and now they gotta work their jaws around and work their way around to the head, and then they can swallow it head first. Crow bait and rat poison. Can't rain all the time. Well, shoot. Actually, while snakes are kind of, I was at the laundromat before I came over here, and they had a bunch of kids in this place right there right there by there, and they had people showing them snakes. They were coming in with they had a huge python, and man, it's good they introduce kids to snakes. People wouldn't have the fear of snakes if they were all introduced from a very young age to snakes and understand that they're really not a threat to you. Most snake bites come about because the person is screwing with the snake. Almost all the time, that's what it is. Not every time. Sometimes it's just an accident. But most of the time it's somebody's jacking with a snake. A lot of times alcohol is involved. The snake does not want to fuck with you. It just don't. Like you're not a food source for it. You're way bigger than it. You are a threat to it. It just wants to get away. And if you leave it no option but to fight, by cornering it, or you stepped on it and now it can't get away, and it's like, you step on a snake, you've probably already killed it. You've smashed it. You're so big and heavy, you've already, it's going to bite as a reflex. It's not the snake's fault. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's performing a valuable function in the ecosystem. I don't know. A lot of people try to say copperheads are these horrible snakes, but I have a lot of experience with copperheads. I had dozens of them in captivity at one point. They were all around me. I run across them all the time. Like one time I was turning over some soil in the garden, and it was largely mulch. Turned it over, out falls coils of copperhead. It lands on my foot, and I was just used to dealing with copperhead, so I just stood there. I didn't react. I was surprised, didn't expect a copperhead to fall out of that stuff and land on my foot, but there it was. And of course he was surprised, but I just stood still and he crawled away. He didn't bite. Copperheads don't, from my experience, they don't tend to just strike. They usually will try and sit really still. Their main defense is camouflage. They hope you do not see them and you just keep on walking. So, and the only time that mouth is opened when I'm dealing with them is when I grab them. Then the mouth opens because now the game's on. But of course, whenever I grab a poisonous snake, I've always got it, behind the head, so it can't bite me. But I don't know. It's just, there's so many people out there, they just kill every damn snake and they think they're doing something good. They're not. You're not. When you remove a snake from a niche, another one will just come move into that niche. So now you're just killing snakes for no good reason. You think you are, but you're not. I'm sorry. It's an empty niche is an empty niche, and that's all nature knows. And something will fill that niche. I mean, if you want to keep poisonous snakes away from your house, your best bet is to try and cultivate a relationship with a large king snake around your house. Because king snake will eat them. That's why I was keeping copperheads, because I had a pet king snake. I was feeding copperheads to him. So there's native king snakes. If you find one around somewhere away from the house, bring it up by the house and carefully turn it loose, and just now it's had experience with you, and it realizes you're not going to hurt it, hopefully, from the experience. And and when you walk by, it doesn't run away, and it kind of hangs out in your flower beds or something. So now you got something that's going to eat a copperhead that comes too close to the house, and it's going to eat rats. It's going to eat mice. It's a good thing. Live in harmony with nature. I guess is what I'm trying to say here. You don't got to kill everything. We have black adders over here. I've only ever seen one, though, and it was big. Alcohol is innocence. I've interviewed it. Yeah. I don't have snakes around these parts. Kind of cold up there. Don't have a lot of snakes. You might have copperhead. I mean, you might have garter snakes up there. You might. No, she probably does. She just don't see them, up north, because it's so cold. Snakes they don't do too great with cold. But there might be some garter snakes up there. They just might be few and far between. Yeah. If they're rare in your parts, and like garter snake, I mean, usually a garter snake sees you before you see it. For most people. Now I spot them because I just got the eye for it. I've been chasing snakes since I was younger than I remember. But most people, they might not even see this. The snake's going to see you before you see it, and it's going to, hide somewhere. So quick you don't see it. And garter snake is a fast snake. Now I learned from a young age too, adults will lie out their ass to you about snakes. I was well read from a young age, and I had a lot of experience messing with snakes from a young age. And adults would tell me bullshit all the time that I knew damn good and well was bullshit. And I just had to bite my tongue, because they think they're protecting me, but they're not, the best thing you can do with children is teach them the truth of things. You're not doing them any favors telling them some bullshit. And a lot of times those adults, I think, believed what they were saying. They'd tell me, "Oh, that's a poisonous snake," and I'm like, "Oh, that's not a poisonous snake. I can tell you exactly what that snake is. I can tell you its Latin name, for fuck's sake." Damn it. Don't lie to kids. Just tell them what's real. Tell them the truth. I think, stuff like that. And then other lies, parents, I know a lot of people think it's fun and stuff, Easter Bunny and Santa Claus and all this bullshit. I think we have to ask the question, is it a good idea to teach children the lesson of lying from right out the gate. Now, if you portray it as it's just a fun thing we do, we talk about Santa Claus and it's a fun thing. Santa Claus isn't real, though. Just if we do it that way, that might be okay. It's just this fun thing we do, frickin' tooth fairy, all this bullshit. But in reality, we're going to sneak in your room and stick a quarter under your pillow. But all these things are teaching kids to lie. Because once they figure out it's all bullshit, well, now there's a seed in their head that is everything my parents tell me is bullshit. I don't know. I think maybe it's something that our society should think about. Maybe we shouldn't lie to kids about anything anymore. Just teach them the value of always telling the truth. Yeah. They have that's been a problem in other places too. Over, I think it's in Australia, there's this, I can't remember what they're called. It's a particular type of like parrot, I think. It's like a pink colored one they release down there, and they become basically a plague there too. And so they'll bait them and then they'll net them and kill them all. They'll just kill them. Don't release stuff where it don't belong. Good, stay the heck away from me. Capture me, parakeet, Mr. Lee. Brandy, I took pictures. We'll send them to you instead. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. We haven't taken good care of the planet. And I see no hope for any major change in that. Despite all our environmental regulations and all that bullshit, the fact is there's just too many people and too many people who don't give a shit. And we've already made too many goddamn mistakes, and we don't have the wherewithal to actually fix them. Like when we've introduced a species that doesn't belong in an ecosystem and fucked up that ecosystem, we need to bend over backwards to correct that mistake. So like Florida, we need a line of humans, a solid line of humans across the north end of Florida, and just march them side by side, that line all the way down the state. And as we go, we start to grab animals. Oh, here's a 10-foot crocodile. Toss it behind us. So or an alligator. You belong here. And then we find one of those invasive pythons or a snakehead fish or iguanas or any of the other shit that's down there that ain't supposed to, and then we get rid of it. And of course, the only thing we can't send them all back to their country's of origin, but we just have to, kill them and feed them to the native wildlife, return those nutrients back to where they belong. But our efforts that we've made so far are not adequate to completely eradicate invasive species. We just aren't doing enough to fix the problem. Same for those parakeets and stuff. We need to, one huge real effort to get them all gone. Stop dicking around. Make it happen. Do it right. And then the problem's gone permanently, hopefully. Tell people, say, hey, you do not release these things. You don't even bring them here, It's a bad idea. It's like in Florida. A lot of invasive animals got out because someone had one as a pet, and hurricane came through, knocked their house down, and the animal got out. Shit like that. Just because you got it in a good cage doesn't mean it's guaranteed not to get out. Like in Oklahoma, if I had a python, tornado comes along, tears the house apart, python gets out. But at least in Oklahoma, it gets too cold here. The pythons will die in the wintertime. They can't survive Oklahoma winters. But Florida's a different story. Yeah. You guys need to put in 100% effort one time. Just go out, march across the entire nation if you have to get rid of them. You tell every citizen, if you see these, it's your responsibility to report them, and then we need to go out there and make a massive bird hunt and get rid of them, because if you don't, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. And then one day people are going to like, fuck it, this is just some shit we got to deal with. And they give up. So you got to nip it in the bud now and actually do what you need to do to pull that off. No, there's not any instructions for parenting, and most parents, they're going off how their parents raised them, and I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe a few people start to implement that kind of thinking in the future. Obviously part of my motivation for some of the shit I do on this channel is I'm sick of being lied to. Sick of being lied to by, Bigfoot liars and government liars and media liars, and there's just liars all over the place. But people have been lying to me since I was a little kid about snakes, about Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy and all that bullshit. Our whole society is lies. I don't know if anyone really thinks about that. Everything is a freaking lie. How about we just stop fucking lying? Let's just stop lying. Let's just give it a try. Let's just give it a try. Stop fucking lying. If we're teaching kids from the day they're born, lie. When I was born, my birthday is December 23rd. So what's the first thing they did to me when I was born? Stuffed me in a stocking. My mother hangs that same damn stocking up every winter. By the way, I don't celebrate birthdays, so nobody get any. I don't celebrate birthdays, so it's just not something I've ever really been interested in. I don't care. I don't remember the day, but I'm sure there's a subconscious mental block as a result of being stuffed in that stocking. No, don't put me in there. I was in a perfectly good place before all this shit happened. What the fuck's going on here? Pretty sure that's what was going through my head when I was a baby. Atrocious spelling, Mr. Lee. Yeah. Nothing but lies, man. It's... What do we expect? What do we expect to get out of a culture based almost entirely on lies? Little Lockbeard in a stocking. I'll stuff you in my stockings too, just for fun. Oh shit, I'm in trouble now. Patrick Vaughn says, I don't know. I may have to not hurt a woman's feelings about things. I'm not sure. You mean well, I think I see where you're going with that. I don't know. You mean like if a woman asks you out and you don't have the heart to tell her it's because you're ugly or you're a bitch or whatever your reason is. You got to come up with some kind of, well, I kind of got a girl or something. Whatever you think of, right? But maybe they should just accept. Look, I'm just not interested or whatever. I don't know what this. You don't got to tell them the whole truth, I don't guess, but that one's a little tricky, I guess. That one's a little tricky. Well, hopefully you don't leave them in there too long. I was always taught as a kid, don't be playing in old fridges. Don't get in there, you got trapped. Thanks, Patrick. I think if that's directed at me, he fit right on the shelf. I guess some people might say I would take the fun out of Christmas and Easter and all that stuff. I don't know. I think you can still have fun with that stuff but without straight up lying. Because a lot of these kids, they really believe this stuff. I don't remember that myself remembering. I don't remember myself. I don't guess actually believing in Santa Claus and stuff like that. I don't recall actually remember believing that. So I can't really tell you when I figured out it was all bullshit, but it happened at some point, I'm sure. But I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Well, maybe we can approach things a little differently, and maybe we would create a society that's a little better. People create adults who are more concerned about their honor. Their word is their, it's part of their honor. Keeping your word, telling the truth. I was moving in, it was off. He fit. It's my own little fascination. Who can fit in what? Me, the dryer, a big shopping bag. Yeah, I've been letting that part grow, and that part you can't really see that because it's light. It's very light color. Because I can let that part grow because the mask seal comes around like this, so I can let that part grow. Yeah, Brandy. Yeah, so I'll keep a bit of a mustache. I really hate shaving. Got to do it every damn morning. Jeez. But Yeah, so damn Karens, damn liars. Patrick Bond says he could totally go Amish. Do it. Do it. Yeah, Amish is another. That's what I'm talking about. These rules about these masks. You know, it bars Amish and Jews, Sikhs, Muslims. So all the people, members of all these religions, can't enter into these kinds of jobs without committing a sacrilege. Or in my case, the Order of the Ether. Fu Manchu Lockbeard? Yeah, maybe. Can't let it get too long, though, because it'll come down and interfere with the mask. But you know you want to do it? Do what? Oh, Patrick? You talking about Patrick? Go Amish? Yeah, go Amish. You gotta go the full 9, though. You gotta get you a little buggy and a horse or a donkey or whatever they draw their buggies with a little orange triangle on the back. Go into town on your little buggy. Get your little wife, has to wear dresses and a little thing on her head and no makeup. Gotta go the full 9. Do some farming. So, well, hopefully this week goes better. Still got lots of work to do, but hopefully that damn Karen is lined out now. Don't gotta deal with that fuck. But the bigger things going on, the fake plague, afraid that's going to become more of a pain in my ass as we go forward. My liberty's stepped on more and more. Got President Kid Sniffer up there saying, just straight outright telling us it's going to be a dark winter. Planning on doing some shit. Amish had the best yeast for bread making. Patrick used to train horses. Yeah. Horses, man. You ever see some of these people, they get horses they can't really take care of, and damn things, ribs are showing and everything, and it's another one of those animals we haven't done right by. After so many generations in a partnership with those animals, and I'm sure somewhere in their psyche they expect more from us. We're supposed to be in a partnership, like with dogs and everything else. That's why I'm kind of, while it's perfectly natural for humans to eat horses, I think that at this point, working together in the ways that we have in a partnership that's not a prey predator relationship, like I just don't know that we should eat them anymore. I mean, typically in our culture we don't, but that we should do better by them, though. Make sure they're well taken care of. Yeah, just not sure I could deal with hairy women. Well, get together with the other Amish men, plot you a little. I got an idea for you. One night you have a communal meal. Everybody gets together for chili or something, but you guys spike the chili with some sedative, and then but you guys took the antidote, right? So now all the women in the village, or whatever you call a commune, or whatever the Amish call their places, they're all passed out asleep. And then you have these uh, then you've already scheduled ahead of time. You got these salon ladies come in, and they do laser hair removal on all the women. So be sure and get everything off of them you want to stay off of them in one go, okay? uh, and then when the women are like, either they'll be too afraid to bring it up, they'll be like, because they'll be like, I don't know what's going on, but how do I bring this up to my husband? He hasn't said anything. He seems more interested lately. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. But if they do ask, maybe say, well, I prayed really hard to relieve you of this burden, my wife. That may not be entirely ethical, what I just said. But they got a weird little cultural situation going there, and they have a problem with they have a genetic problem in some of their communities where the gene pool's gotten a little bit shallow, and they know it, and they've run into some problems in that regard, and they've had to introduce new DNA. So what's happened in some cases, I don't know how prevalent it is, but it has happened in some cases where they have brought in a sperm donor. But see, they're Amish, so you can't do artificial insemination. You have to do it natural. So what they do is the donor comes in, the woman is laid there with like a sheet over her, and he mates with her through a hole in the sheet to impregnate her and to get that new DNA into the community. I'm not shitting you. This shit really happens, and it's all because of this is what happens when you believe, when you let your shit's going too far. They shouldn't have to do that. They should just look. They say, look, okay, so we're not allowed to use medical interventions like that, but it also says you're not supposed to commit adultery. Which one is worse, Amish people? And apparently adultery is more acceptable than a medical, which artificial insemination is not it's not like you went and got surgery, or you even got I mean, seriously, this is kind of nuts that this is how they chose to deal with this situation. Well, like, I don't remember how they put it. Like, it'd be like, how women typically shave their legs and shave their armpits and stuff like that. It's just those are just things that they don't do. It would be, I'm losing the word for it. It would be, not prideful, but it wouldn't. It's just something. It's just something they don't do. Wearing makeup and all that stuff. It's just something that's kind of against the rules. Was that my fault, Patrick? Well, for the Amish, it is the Middle Ages, man. Like, some of them are getting to where they use phones now. But a lot of them communities, like there would be a phone, but there'd be like one phone somewhere in the community. Like somewhere. No electricity. Like, they wouldn't use cars. But they're slowly accepting stuff as time goes on, but they're being real slow about it because it's just not. It's against their rules. It's against their religious sect beliefs. I'm just amazed by the sperm donor part. Like, look, you would rather have some dude come in and fuck your wife instead of go to a sperm bank and get have a doctor put that in her from a donor that you will never see or meet or even know his name. Their rules have made them make that choice. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. That being said, I'm, as a donor, I'm thinking about contacting some Amish communities. There, you said it. Yeah. Lockbeard encourages a well shaved everything. Next order of business, Brandy says. Yeah. I'm just against shaving my face. I was just joking about them Sasquatch women. I mean, that last video from Peter Kane last night was more gross than funny. Yep. Keep it smooth. So anything else? We probably need to wrap it up. I'm getting tired. We done gone and missed Nikki's show, but Patrick says it was too much to deal with. I mean, if Dyer's just not even apologetic, fuck that guy. Yeah. Mr. Lee likes strong, independent women. Yeah, I mean, how independent, Hollywood's tried to perpetuate this idea that a strong woman is a woman who acts like a man. In my view, a strong woman is a woman who can still act like a woman and be a woman, fulfill her feminine role in society and family, be a good mother, be a good wife, but still be a strong person without acting like a man and trying to be masculine. And she appreciates a man who is masculine. She doesn't want some metrosexual fucker. You know, uh, there's plenty of women pushing back on that bullshit. You know, they're they like real men. They're like, this doesn't detract from me as a woman. This compliments me as a woman. Kind of ideal. And they don't feel threatened by men, in that way that apparently these feminazis feel, and of course a lot of those women are getting all pissed off because they tried to be that what they thought was a strong independent woman. Well, I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna make my own career, and I'm not gonna get married till later. And then they try to get married later and they find out, well, fuck, all these guys are either fed up or they're the cast-offs for a reason because they're a piece of shit anyway, or they got married when they were 16, 17, 18, and then they were lucky enough to find a good woman that they would stay married to for life, and they're off the market. And then the men, and then the rest of the men that are out there are men who are, well, I mean, they're just fed up. They're tired. They're like, it's like they're out there and they're like, look, yeah, I'm in my 40s and I'm not married, and I'm making more money than, because these women, they will exclusively look for a man that makes more money than them, which shrinks up their dating pool even more. And those men don't want to date those women because they're like, fuck, you're 40 years old, lady. I got a 21-year-old girlfriend over here. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. And so these women, these women, those women that went down that route are all pissed off because they can't seem to get the man they want, and they're not willing to lower their standards and maybe, just maybe, pick a guy that makes a little less money than you. Maybe he's not as fit as you would like. I mean, for fuck's sake, most guys in their 40s are, they're a little overweight, and let's just be real, they're not goddamn Arnold Schwarzenegger. They've set their standards so damn high nobody can reach it, and then they get pissed off because none of the guys that do fit their standards want them. Well, I'm sorry, lady. You took yourself off the market until the point that you've taken yourself off the market, pretty much. Patrick Vaughn says, if I can't get 2 hours in 5 positions, I'm not in. What? I'm not sure exactly what we're talking about there. On your horse, Patrick? I'm not sure what I'm reading now. But yeah, it's about every week I hear a story, another horror story from a guy. It's like, this last one, he's been through a couple divorces. Some of the crazy shit he's gone through, and I'm like, well, there's my weekly reminder why I never gotten married. And at this point, I don't know that I would. I mean, I don't know why I would do it, but gotten this far, and everything's been fine. But that's one of the problems we've had with relationships in our country anyway, is the government getting involved with our bullshit. Why do you got to go and get their stamp of approval and a marriage license and a blood test and all this bullshit, or even go down and get a ceremony or go before a judge or go to your church if you're religious. Why do you got to do all that bullshit? Why? For the Christians out there, I would ask them, does it say you have to do any of that shit? All it says in the Bible is, if you go back and you really look, what happened. Like, I can't remember the dude's name. He took this girl into his mom's tent. I'm going to translate for you. He took the girl in his tent, fucked her. She's now his wife. And, that's all it took. There wasn't a nice little gathering. They didn't send some invitations and order a bunch of flyers and get the preacher lined out and everybody gather and there's a fucking cake and thousands and thousands of dollars and a marriage license and none of that shit, that was involved with marriage. You just came together and that was it. Patrick says, I survived a sociopath. Randy says, I don't think marriage is a necessity. Patrick says, biblical marriage is good. States marriage is not. Yeah, we need to get the government out of it. Yeah, and look, I've been laughing at Christians about this whole fucking thing. They need to take this well now and just hear me out. Because why do you think the government got involved in marriage in our country in the first place? Is because Christians wanted the government involved. They want the government to enforce their ideals on everybody. And that's how it happened. So now you got a situation where there's certain, tax benefits and power of attorney and all these things that happen with marriage and is intertwined with marriage. Along comes the gay marriage movement. Now, all these people wanted was equal treatment in a marital circumstance. A gay man's partner wanted to be able to come see him in a hospital, and there were times when that would be denied. It's like, you're not family member and we don't recognize marriage, get the fuck out. That they were being denied these basic human rights, really. And so the push came and the change started to come, and the Christians not all Christians, but a lot of Christians got all bent out of shape, pissed off, and they don't like gay marriage. So I'm like, look, you're the guys who got the government involved in the first place, and now the government's recognizing gay marriage. You made this bed, and now you got to sleep in it. So it's all funny to me at this point. So if any Christians are listening to this and you're pissed off, I'm sorry. But government recognition of gay marriage is directly the fault of Christians. I just don't think most of them have figured that out yet. It was Christians that got government involved in marriage in the first place because no one else gave a shit, I guarantee you. And and not even most Christians weren't involved with this shit, but there's just certain ones that like to try and get the government to enforce their their beliefs on everybody, and that's what happened. So gay marriage, recognized by government, was caused by Christians. See, government should treat citizens as just individuals. Everybody's an individual. You know, you're an individual and you have all the rights, and you're an individual and you have all the rights. And if you get married, then you want there to be some kind of legal, stuff in regards to that. You sign a contract, So now you have a contract between you two. And but don't bring marriage itself into it, like, power of attorney and stuff like that. But, contractual relationship in that regard. But once you got the government regulating marriage, you fucked up. Patrick Bond says the separation of church and state nulls any claim the state had over marriage. Yeah, it should. It should. But, you still, when you file your taxes, it's like, are you single or are you married? Well, that shouldn't even be. Why is that on there? Why? That shouldn't be. That has nothing to do with anything. Treat every individual. Because, see, now, like me as a single person, I'm like, well, why the fuck do I have to pay a different amount than this guy because he got married? That's not I'm not being treated equal here. It kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't like it. Brandy says, I wouldn't even accept the proposal. Gives me anxiety. A verbal agreement to commit is enough. No ring or piece of paper needed, in my opinion. Patrick Vaughn says, a lot of Christians don't realize that the state took over as a pagan god. State marriage isn't biblical. Yeah. Hopefully the gay marriage thing kind of woke some of them up. You do not want the government involved in your religious ceremony, because for Christians, marriage is a religious ceremony, or at least a religious pact. And that's, like I said, from reading the Bible, doesn't even look like there was a ceremony involved, unless you call, some sweaty goat herder sex in a tent ceremony. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah, Brandy's not taking proposals, guys. No proposals. Fucks up her anxiety. No ring or piece of paper. Yeah. I don't know why the ceremonies got like that. And it's like they just got more and more elaborate over time. And I don't know. It's kind of strange. Please, Brandy. Everything changes when you put a label on it. Yeah. Well, and like with a lot of guys, this has been an issue in a lot of marriages. It's not everyone, but it, like a lot of guys, they'll say is, that the she changes after the marriage. Basically, she's the sex stops. She lets herself go. It's like once she's achieved that goal, she's got him by the balls now, kind of situation. And and I can tell you, no man goes through a marriage because he wants less sex. Let's just be real. that's so how that whole situation happens so often, and how guys still are so willing to jump down that hole, and I don't understand the women in that circumstance. This guy has committed himself to you, and this is how you repay him. You become just this wretched hag. You're bitching at him all the time. You're talking shit about him to his children. I've seen that a lot. I'm like, that's not cool. You don't talk shit to kids about their dad. What the fuck is wrong with these women that are like this? And it's not all of them, but but some. Oh yeah, Mr. Lee, you're right. But I guess I harp on the women a little bit because, well, I'm coming from the male perspective, and the courts tend to rule in favor of the women, even when it's obvious the woman is the problem. They tend to favor the woman anyway. So that's unequal dispensation of the law. You see cases where women who have, either they're got mental issues or they're alcoholics or drug addicts, and they end up with custody of the kids. It's getting to be less of a problem, but it's still happening way more than it should. The system treats the system still acts like it's usually the men that's the problem. It kind of goes both ways. I don't even know. I don't know that it's 50-50, but it isn't men almost all the time like the law seems to treat it. Patrick says most people only hold themselves to their own standards. Without a better standard, people fail. Oh yeah, Mr. Lee, they do. They do. I'm just saying we're in a society that's just, catering to the female side way more, Fuck the guy. The guy's evil. You got this whole feminist insanity shit going on, and everything's a men's fault. Men are evil and all this shit. It's all about men. Men are always the bad. Men are not always the bad guys. They can be, and they are often, but not as much as society makes them out to be. Not as much as the courts rule in favor of the woman in the cases of divorce and child custody and all that shit. So I don't mean for it to seem like I'm blaming women 100%. No, there's plenty of blame to go around, and a lot of times there's both the man and the woman have done wrong in the situation, in a divorce and all that. But Patrick says, if anything resembling justice comes out of our court system, it's a pure fluke. Yeah. Brandy says it's always the good guys that end up with the real bitches. Yeah. I can say that. It happens a lot. And that sooner or later might ruin that guy. So if he does find a good woman, he won't know what to do with her. Patrick Vaughn says, I have marriage proposals right now. Nope, never. Run, Patrick, run. Oh, every few months I get an ex-girlfriend that comes sniffing around. I'm like, no. Or sometimes it's like a woman that like we never even dated, like, she wasn't about it or anything at the time, but now she is, and I'm like, well, here you are, 150 pounds heavier, 3 times uglier, 3 times older. You got a bunch of kids. You got a couple baby daddies, and I mean, how much am I supposed to accept? How much am I supposed to, and we didn't even date. And here you are knocking on my door or on my email or on my Facebook or something. 25, sometimes 30 years later, you see I see what's going on. She's fucked it all up all this time, and now she's going back in her head is like, where did I fuck up? Must be at Earl. That was the one. That was the one I let go. I need to go find him. Your chance passed 30 years ago, lady. Sometimes it'd be like when I was young, you might have a break up and then go back, break up and go back a couple times, and no, never go back. Whatever made you break up the first time, it's going to happen again. Or one that cheated, there's been those cases. If she cheated before, she'll cheat again. No second chances. And none of those no one from the past. Everyone, they all end up real, I try to be nice about it, saying, well, not interested. I mean, they'll come, they'll be talking about shit like, well, I'm recovering alcoholic, or I've gotten off the meth, or I'm like, you're not making a good case here, lady. I'm sorry. I mean, this is looking worse all the time. Patrick says 21 months in my land and home is paid for, debt free, single. Yeah. You may not want to say that in the open. There's going to be they're going to come knocking. Oh, this guy hasn't been tapped out yet. I mean, any of us that say, like I've never been married and I have no kids, legally. I mean, I've told y'all before, I'm a donor, so there are some genetic offspring from me, and but legally, no marriages, no kids, and so I haven't been tapped for alimony and child support yet. So there's some out there is like, damn, need to tap that income source there. Patrick says both mine came back, told them to kick rocks. Yeah. But a lot of these younger guys, they just haven't learned yet. Don't let them come back. It was the same way when I was young, they come back. I'm sorry, let's try again. No. The answer to that is always no. Can we give it another try? Fuck no. I don't, no. No, I'm sorry. You gave 3 houses away. Now I'm building my own life. Women, ex-wives. Yeah. I mean, one of the good things about living the way I've been living for the last, how long have I been living like this? I became a minimalist around 2002. Like I really started to be serious about it. Because in 2001, I was living in this nice 3-bedroom house and, all this shit. And I'm like looking around, I'm like, why do I need all this? I mean, I maybe now I could, because I'm cognizant of how it affects you living too comfortably, and how people perceive you, and how women react to you as a man. They see me living in a van. Some of them call me homeless. You have no idea. My home is mobile. The shit's a fan. I can get the fuck out way faster than you can. If I want to go on vacation, I don't even have to pack. Everything's already in my van. I enjoy a level of freedom you people will never understand. The rent doesn't got to be paid. If I don't like my neighbors, I can just drive the fuck away. Because, so I have noticed that it's fewer women coming sniffing around. But I do get some, like every so often a woman comes up and she says, I really like this van. I don't know what it is about this fucking van. I mean, people specifically compliment this fucker. And I'm like, I don't know. It's a van. It's it's a conversion van. It's got the big windows on the side. It's kind of made for camping. It's kind of made for that. But I don't know. Yeah, Patrick giving away 3 houses. Brandy says, see, this shit pisses me off. My brother is going through some stuff right now, a possible divorce. She wants the house. She did not do a single thing to help in the purchase of that house. Yeah. And that's what men are seeing happen so damn much. And we're sick of it. Intellectually, I understand. A woman is geared from evolution to look for a man who can provide for her. But in our society, she is not reliant on a man to survive anymore. So things have changed. We're taken out of the evolutionary situation, but we still got the evolutionary programming. So now, the women are still acting in the way they were evolved, except they don't got to make the sacrifices to go with it, which means she becomes bound. And in a natural circumstance, she, in effect, belongs to that man, Well, that don't happen at all in our society anymore. And instead of adjusting her behavior to that circumstance, she continues to seek out a man who can provide for her. And And then because our system allows her to divorce that man at some point because she doesn't get her way or whatever, maybe he's an asshole. I mean, in the past, she just would have had to deal with it or try to encourage him to be better, you know. But you know, women can manipulate men to an extent. But now she can just take his shit and run. You know, that's not part of our evolution. In an evolutionary context, she would have had to adjust to whatever problems she had with that man and accept them if she wanted to continue to benefit from what that man can provide. That's not what's happening now, though. She just takes everything he's got now and runs with it. That would have never, in the evolutionary context, that wasn't allowed. And so that's created a situation where the men are getting fucked over. And that's why you're having a rise in MGTOW, MGTOW, men going their own way, which I am definitely one of those men. Where we're sick of this bullshit. We're not going to play this game. A woman is not going to take my shit. She either takes me as I am, or she kicks rocks, like Patrick says, and she doesn't take my shit. She ain't gonna take my shit. You know, I mean, I think I mentioned before in the town I used to be at, there was a guy. He built a business. That business had his last name on it. Got a divorce. She took his business that had his name on it. Now, she did work in the business and stuff like that, like clerical or something. But it was an electrical business, and he was the electrician. You know, it's like, why does she get the business? You know, that's his livelihood. That's how he gets by. He had to start a new business, and he named it after his first name instead of his last name. But you know what I mean? It just, something don't seem right about that. Maybe she could walk away with some money. Maybe she walks away with the house. I don't know. I don't know all the details there. I don't know that maybe he chose to give up the business to keep the house and the kids. I don't know, because I think he ended up keeping the kids. But yeah. I mean, it's just we see this shit happening, and men are getting like, we're like, okay, we're not playing anymore. There's more of us all the time. We're like, we're not playing this game anymore. And the good women that are out there are like getting frustrated because they're like, you know, these guys have been ruined by, you know, all these bitches out there. You know, they're completely spooked by the entire prospect of a marriage. Brandy says never threw shit in her face, supported her, and then she wanted to take the house. Yeah, that shit happens all the time. Yeah, it's not right. Like, there was one case I was reading about somewhere. Like, she didn't do anything. He was rich, and he spent thousands upon thousands of dollars getting her treatment for her substance abuse problems, and it just didn't work. And in the end, they ended up getting divorced. And she took, you know, like his house, and I think she took his business too. Like, she took a bunch of shit that she did not. Not only did she not build that shit, she was a drain on all that because of all the problems she had that he spent thousands and thousands of dollars trying to fix her. Brandy says, why should she get the house she wants out of the marriage, not him? So you aren't entitled to what he paid for then. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like some women say, you're acting like you're saying women should be property. I'm like, well, aren't women binding themselves to property in their own way by saying the property goes with them when the man loses the woman? You know, like it's like, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too here. Evolutionary context. If you wanted what a man had, if you wanted the ability to provide that man had, you had to stay with the fucking man. And you had to accept whatever flaws he had. If you didn't want those flaws, you needed to run away. And when you run away in Paleolithic humanity, you don't get to take the goddamn house. Hell, they didn't even have a house. But now we do. We have these houses, and the women are demanding these bigger and more beautiful houses, and they want all this, name brand shit, and to go shopping and the best clothes, all this shit, and they want to be able to keep it, but then get rid of the man. And there are women out there that would say, I am an asshole for bringing that shit up. Well, fine. Well, you bye. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, lady. I don't need to talk to you anymore. I'm doing just fine out here. Mr. Lee says, the girls in the early 30s seem to be attracted to me lately. I think it's the beard. Maybe, Mr. Lee. Maybe you're just getting better with age, like a wine. Brandy says, tell them women to back off or I'll find my way to Oklahoma. Oh, they always get turned. They figure it out. If I'm not too blunt about it, they figure it out. I'm like, no. They eventually lost everything. Why they tried to come back. Yeah. And that further is evidence that they weren't part of what built that. See, what a lot of these women don't understand is when a woman takes proper care of her man, she's supportive of him and makes sure he's properly taken care of in every way he likes. He wants his food prepared a certain way. I'm sorry, these are just, look, there's certain realities about what's going on here. It ain't like, I don't know. Like I remember when I was a kid, my mom would meet my dad at the door when he come home from work every day and kiss him. There are wives out there that don't bother to do that. They stay their ass plopped in a chair, watching soap operas, shoveling chips down their throat, And maybe the first thing he hears from her is bitching when he comes in. The house isn't clean. The dishes are dirty. The kids are running crazy. You know what I mean? It's like these kind of things don't help a man be the best man he can be. It doesn't help his psychology. It doesn't improve his mood and make him more productive in whatever vocation he's in or job or business. You know what I mean? This kind of stuff drags him down. If he comes home to shit like this, it drags him down. It puts him in depression. So then people say, well, why is he going to the bar every day after work? Well, I think a lot of those men are at the bar because they just they don't want to go home. Maybe a lot of those wives should be asking themselves, what have I done to make it to where my husband doesn't want to come straight home after work every day? to a place where he can have peace and quiet and relax and feel encouraged and supported and wanted and appreciated, you know. Um, you know, I'm not the best at conveying stuff, but I'm trying to say it, you know. I'm trying to say it the best I can. Carry equal weight. Yeah. Maybe people nowadays shouldn't get married after 6 months. Maybe, you know. I think part of the problem is people are waiting. I mean, there's a lot of problems here. One of the things I think is a problem, and a lot of people are going to be like, "You're crazy. We're more advanced now. We don't need to live like that anymore." Back in the day, people got married at freaking 13, man. I think that could be an issue. Like the human animal would pair off way earlier. You know, when the plumbing starts, when the plumbing powers up for breeding. I mean, look at high school. You know, the whole time you're fighting these kids. You're trying to keep your daughter from getting knocked up. You're trying to keep your son from knocking up some girl. You know, you're fighting this the whole time. Do you think, and even up to about 100 years ago, people really weren't fighting that like we do today? We're trying to, you got to wait until after high school, and you got to wait until after college, and then you gotta, you know, give it a few years. You gotta wait. And I'm like, don't even find a mate until it's like, no, the human animal was meant to find a mate at the time that Mother Nature made that shit start functioning, just like every other creature on this planet. And so I think what's happening is because we wait until years after that time, is the psychological bond doesn't always form as strongly, you know, later in life. It can, I think it can, but the real window is when you're freaking 13, you know. And if you get married at 13, you know, I don't know what the statistics are, but I'd be willing to bet the statistics on divorce for people that got married when they were teenagers is probably going to be less than those that got married when they were in their 20s. It's probably going to be less. It seems like an alien concept to people today, but I remember in high school, it was kind of weird even then, though. We had a girl move to our town from, I think, Virginia, and she was 15. She was married, you know. But nowadays, that's a very strange concept to people. But when I was looking at the genealogy of my family, man, everybody was getting married, you know, 14, 15, something like that. That was normal back in the day. But here in the and we think what we have going on now is normal. So the law mocks God. It's self-preservation. I want to retire and have a paid-for home to retire in. Yeah. When I was in court several times, there was a line of little old men being divorced in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, losing everything. They thought they made it. Nope. Damn. Man, what's up with these women getting divorced in their 90s? I mean, at that point, you might as well just write it out. You're going to be dead in a few years, lady. What does she think she's going to do? Go find her some pool boy somewhere? Hello, Lester. Oh, shit. what a roller coaster ride tonight's been. Hello, Sandra, you back? Brandy says people also moved a lot slower back then. Now people meet, they think they know each other, they move way too fast just to find out they can't stand one another. Well, see, that's what I'm talking. See what that's what I'm. See what I'm. Part of what I'm saying is I think that when people hook up when they're young, like shit will move really fast, but they're so young that they grow together psychologically, and then they just become inseparable for the most part. Like like when you're older, you have years of memory of being apart from that person. But when you get together so young, you really don't have, everything. Your entire existence is bound to that other person. It's hard to imagine being apart from them. But maybe it's just infatuation at first. Maybe it's supposed to be infatuation at first. I don't know. In older people, maybe slower is better. And then there's the whole concept of arranged marriages. A lot of times there was arranged and you didn't really have a choice. You had to make the best of it, what you were handed. And nowadays people always think that they don't have to make the best of it. They can just quit and go to someone else. So they don't try to work shit out. They don't just, they don't try to make the best of it. They don't even try. So, but if our society is collapsing and it all ends up crazy and people are fighting and we got local warlords everywhere, we'll end up right back to like Stone Age shit again, and people they're gonna be forced to adjust to that shit, and they're gonna see shit happen that they would have never thought was acceptable before, but it's going to happen. Humans will go back to just straight up Paleolithic, Stone Age, and I'm not even going to say everything that's going to happen, but it'll happen. And the people that remember the way the world was before this bullshit started will be shocked at first. They will be disgusted, but they won't be able to do anything to stop it, and they'll have to accept the world the way it becomes. Yeah. But see, that's the thing. That's what we're kind of talking about, is like, a lot of these women these days, my life is not worth giving up for a lot of these women. Not saying all, but a lot of them. Every one of them that ever did me wrong, I'm not saying I ain't made my own mistakes from time to time in that regard, but I think I definitely suffer from the whole I'm too nice thing, the last one I had like a significant relationship with, she was trying to get me to be violent with her, and I just can't do it. There was no reason to strike her, but she was purposely trying to get me to. And I just, even though she wanted me to, I don't know. I'm trying to put words to this. To me, it's almost as if like there's a mental issue there, and if I do give her what she wants, then it would just be wrong, you know. And I don't know. I don't know. Just nothing felt right. I mean, when it was evident that it was definitely time to get the fuck out, I got the fuck out. You know, so. Mr. Lee, I get kissed a lot. I'm telling you, it's a beard. It's a beard, Mr. Lee. I ain't been kissed once since I shaved my beard. I ain't gonna say anything about before. Brandy says, as long as you still get your kisses, if you ever shave, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee says, Brandy, I ain't shaving anytime yet. If I stayed with a guy I fell in love with at that time, I'd be dead. At what time? When you were young? It was a bad fella. Mr. Lee says, my brother got 2 girls pregnant at the same time and they were both called Liz. True story. Well, from an evolutionary perspective, he's successful. He's a successful male. The name of the girls doesn't have anything to do with it, but that's kind of strange. Uncle Bones, yes, the high school sweethearts stay married, Lockbeard. Yeah, I think a lot of them, they really do. Like the psychological, there's like a window there for psychological bonding that's kind of missed when you wait until later. Not saying it's 100% the case, but in general, I kind of think that eventually society is going to have to like acknowledge this and stop trying to paint things. But see, I think the whole idea that's being the idea being pushed on us that people should wait is about creating unstable family circumstances on purpose. Like we're being sabotaged on purpose. It's like with a lot of the shit that we're getting told all the time. You need some rubbers. He's all right now. Pyromex says, hell, our power went off in town tonight. My mind went to, oh, hell, better pull out the old powwow to make it back of the woods. Well, folks, I'm going to have to wrap her up. I got to get some power to this laptop before it dies. And we've been on a long time anyway. So, yeah, that was a weird one, I guess. All kinds of different shit to talk about. But thanks, everyone, for coming. And I don't know when next time will be, but it probably, maybe next Saturday, Lockbeard Phenomena, or maybe another random live sometime this week. We'll see. But thanks for coming. Talk to you guys later.